Hi, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Jen, and we're two moms in the kitchen.
Come join us in the kitchen for some cooking
Some conversation.
and lots of laughing.
Hello, and welcome back. Today we're making a cranberry and stuffing topped chicken breast, and we're also going to be doing a cream of anything soup. We're going to be using that in the recipe. Now, this recipe is a favorite in Adriana's household. So she's the one that suggested it today, so we're going to give it a try. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start by making the cream of anything soup. Now, this recipe is great because it you can substitute it for the canned stuff, so you know exactly what is in the soup, what ingredients are going into it. And you can make it cream of chicken, you can make it cream of mushroom, you can make it cream of celery, whatever you want. So it's a very versatile recipe. So I think we're gonna get started with that.
Now this recipe, the cranberry stuffing chicken, is super easy. You get it in the oven and you're done. It's very, very easy to put together. And that's why we thought maybe busy moms, busy families, get this done, and it's very, very healthy.
Absolutely. All right, let's get started. So we're gonna start by chopping up some mushrooms. So we're gonna chop them up finely so that they will kind of disappear a little bit into the soup that we're using. So the trick with mushrooms is that you don't want to submerge them in water. You just want to wipe them with a damp paper towel to get all the dirt off.
Now, do you keep the inside on or do you take it off?
I trim a little bit off of the end because it's a little dried out, a little tough. Mm-hmm. So we'll just trim that off and then the rest is good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll just give these a quick, sometimes if this one's already falling off, you can take the stem out and cut that separately if you want. But that one's good. And we only need half a cup of mushrooms here, so not too many. And we're gonna try and chop them, it says finely.
Mushrooms are one of those vegetables that I discovered when I was like 10.
Yep.
And my mom and my stepdad cried that day because they love to get anything with mushrooms, and they guaranteed that if it had mushrooms, I didn't eat it. But when I discovered mushrooms, that was the end of their happiness.
Yeah.
I've been told. Especially mushroom appetizers, like anything stuffed mushrooms.
Yes.
Beyond happy.
Oh, so good. Our family don't love mushrooms, and that's partly because my husband has an aversion to mushrooms, and therefore the children think that they don't like it. So, you know, it's kind of hard to convince the kids to try it when dad doesn't like it. All right, so it won't take long to get half a cup of mushrooms here. It's just a little finicky cutting these up because they are an odd shape.
I make a really good spinach and mushroom quiche. Oh, it's so good. And the spinach is the crust of the quiche. It's crustless.
Oh, yum.
So, but I put a ton of mushrooms in it because, again, I love mushrooms. And my kids are so funny, they pick them out. And I'm like, why are you removing the best part? Oh, my son's having a bit of a hard time today.
We're all used to that.
Yes, yes. How are you gearing up for Christmas, Jen?
Oh boy, it's hard to believe that it's just
not that long.
No, definitely not. I started early, so because I was a little concerned about whether the shops would be busy, and now with social distancing and having to wait longer, I really didn't want to be waiting in a heavy coat in line for Christmas shopping. So yeah, shopped local, a little bit of online shopping too, just because some things you can't get. And yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape right now. We've got If I don't have it purchased, we've got ideas.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How about you?
We started last weekend. We've got most of the kids' stuff done. I always like to make a grandparent gift for each set of grandparents.
Yes.
From the kids. So one year I did a Christmas ornament of a box, and on each side of the box was a picture of the kids, and on the bottom it said Christmas 2017. Last year I did the kids' handprints and I embroidered them into linen and framed it, and then on the back it said the year and the ages. So and the hands were kind of overlapping a little bit, and each one got a different color. So I'm trying to figure out if any of the grandparents are watching this, turn away. But I'm just kind of trying to figure out, you know, what that looks like this year.
Yes.
So because it's coming. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
We decided as a family, my grandmother is 99, she'll be 100 in January, and so we decided, what do you get a 99-year-old, right? I mean, she's very happy, she's content, but she really doesn't need much.
Right.
So as a collective, we are doing a photo book for her because she loves to look back and reminisce and stuff like that. So the extended family is all merging onto a website and putting together this photo book.
Super cute. Love it.
So we're in the process of doing it right now, and it's actually really fun to set the pictures up. That's my cup of tea, of course.
Yes, yes.
But you know, change backgrounds and put wording in and different colors, and I'm enjoying it. It's not everybody's thing, but
Oh, that's so fun.
yeah. So I'm excited to see how it turns out, and her, of course, her reaction to it.
Yeah.
So.
Now, if a tip, if you're not into doing all the details of those things, I've also done a photo book through chapbooks. Have you ever done chapbooks?
I've heard of them.
Yes. So I've done a photo book for birthdays and different things, and I did it one year for my dad, and it was just pictures of the kids, you know, and fun scenarios, and then on the chapbooks you can actually write a little blurb of what's going on or the memory or whatever, and send it out, because that's just like it's memories, right?
Yes.
And they can always look at that. They show them their friends. That's always there,
Right.
to remember those things. So photo books are awesome.
Yes. And the other thing is too is that a lot of times you can just put the photos in, upload the photos, and it'll populate it itself.
Yeah, do something.
So I mean that's an easy way to do it as well.
Right.
Okay, we're almost there, I promise. This is about probably the most prep that we have to do. We have to cut the chicken for that, but other than that, yeah, that's very easy. So a little bit of time to cut mushrooms.
Do you think that you could do it in a food processor? Just like whirl it?
Probably,
Like
yeah.
3 pulses?
Yeah,
and call it good?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you don't even have to use the mushrooms if you don't want to. Like I said, you could use chicken or celery or whatever your family's liking.
Yeah. This recipe says you can use cream of chicken or cream of mushroom, and I just picked cream of mushroom for my family. So when we thought of this recipe, we are doing the same thing, but really you can do whatever you need to do.
Oh,
Alright.
There's the oven ready to go. So we preheated the oven to 400 degrees. So once we get the soup going, then we'll put it on the chicken and then we'll get that in the oven.
Perfect.
All right, last cuts. I'm feeling the pressure. I've got a little more than half a cup here, but I didn't want to waste that last mushroom. So, okay, so now we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to start the soup mixture. Okay, so we're over at the stove now. We're just going to turn it onto a medium heat and we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter, maybe. Oh, there we go, okay. Okay, so we've got the butter all melted, and now what we're going to do is add our half a cup of mushrooms in there, and we're just going to cook them until they soften. We'll give them a little stir here and let them cook down a little bit. Okay, so these have been cooking for about 4 to 5 minutes, so we've been stirring it often. You can see it bubbling away, and it smells amazing. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour now, just to thicken this. And we're going to stir it around. Actually, we're going to whisk it around to just incorporate that flour. You don't want a raw flour flavor. So we're just going to get it mixed in there. This is what they typically call a roux, which is the butter and flour mixture. And then we're going to add some milk to this. So we're just going to cook this for about a minute or so, just to get that flour all combined. It's smelling so good.
A roux is also a base to any gravy. So you could do, like this could very easily be a mushroom gravy.
Absolutely. Okay, so what we're gonna do is constantly whisk, and we're just gonna add the milk in a little at a time. And we're adding 1.5 cups of milk. So you can see how it's thickening really quickly there. So we're just gonna keep adding the milk to loosen it up. It's a little bit of a tedious process, but the end results are amazing. There we go. Almost there. We just have to add another 1/2 cup. But you can see how thick it's gotten. I'm just gonna grab some more milk here. And the last little bit. Awesome. And now what we're gonna do is just add a little bit of salt and pepper. You can do this to your liking. You don't need a lot because we're gonna be incorporating it into another recipe, but just a little bit to season it up. All right, so there's 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we'll do the same with pepper. There we go. Okay, so what we want to do is just cook this now until it thickens. And the way that you can tell that it's ready is by dipping a spoon into it and then pulling your finger down the back of the spoon, and if it leaves a streak, like a blank spot where your finger was, then that is perfectly thickened cream of mushroom soup. So we're just going to cook this for a little bit longer. The way that you test this, like I said, is you want to swirl it around and then take the back of the spoon and you want to swipe it down and see how it's left. It hasn't come back together. That's exactly what you want. So our soup is now officially done. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the chicken portion of the recipe. So again, we've got a little bit of prep work that we have to do. We're going to dice 1/2 onion. We're going to dice up some celery, and we've got some dried cranberries here. And we're just going to run the knife through them so that we don't have a huge chunk of cranberry. We just want a little pop of flavor. And then after that, we're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Fillet the chicken. So you're going to take the chicken breast and cut it in half so that you've got 2 thinner pieces so it'll cook a little quicker and evenly. Okay, so let's start with the celery first because I don't want to cry right now. So we're just going to go through the center. That wasn't very centered-like. There we go. Remember to keep those fingers tucked in. You don't need extra flavor in the recipe.
Also, make sure that your knives are sharp.
Definitely.
That is probably the key to making sure you don't get an injury. Keep your knives sharp.
Yes.
I bought a little knife sharpener, I think at Walmart, I want to say,
Yeah.
and it was super easy. I feel like people get intimidated when they get a knife block and they've got that big stick that's the knife sharpener and they have to like be all crazy as if you were a professional chef. Mine is just a little thing you keep on the counter and you just sharpen your knives. It has a coarse part and a fine part, and my knives sharpen very easily.
Absolutely. All right. In the center here.
This is a great recipe if you are wanting to entertain because it makes quite a bit and it's very flavorful and it's a very pretty recipe. When everything is said and done, what you're going to be doing is you have the chicken on a casserole dish and you put the stuffing concoction that we're going to be making on top. And it's just very pretty because it has the pops of green from the celery, it has the pops of red from the cranberries. So it's a very festive dish.
It's like Thanksgiving in a dish.
With chicken.
With chicken.
I don't particularly like turkey, so chicken works out great for me.
Well, this Thanksgiving, some people had chicken.
Yeah, we did ham.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just the 5 of us, my family, for Thanksgiving, so it wasn't worth doing the big turkey, and you know, everybody was happy.
Exactly. It's the year of change.
Oh, I know. And we'll see what Christmas ends up looking like.
That's right,
You know,
yes.
who knows?
I find it's kind of day by day sometimes.
It really is. It really is.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the onion. Oh, I can feel the tears already.
Now, when we would do this at the center, and we had onions to chop, I would always volunteer because I rarely cry with onions.
Oh.
I don't know if it's because I've been chopping onions since I was 4. In my grandmother's kitchen, there was always onions and garlic and peppers. That's it. So that was the basis to every meal.
And that's such a great smell.
Yeah.
Such a great smell.
Well, maybe not some. She would start cooking at like 5 in the morning.
Oh dear.
So you wake up to some garlic and onions. Okay, that's fine. Like that's home for me.
I cooked some bacon the other day for a recipe, and the whole house smelled like bacon for about 3 days.
Yep.
Not that that's a bad thing, but
I just recently saw that, I think it's Hormel or some sort of bacon company, I'm not sure, is making a bacon mask.
really?
And it smells like bacon. My husband sent me the link, and my best friend and my mom responded with, I just threw up. Bacon smell is not for everyone, but
No.
if it's for you, we have a mask for you.
Okay. There we go. Oh, wow,
You
that's
did good.
a potent one. So we're going to slide that over here. All right, and the last thing that we're going to do, like I said, was just run. Put the cranberries here and just run our knife through the cranberries as well. Now the flavors are all going to mix together, so I'm not concerned that I'm chopping on the same surface as the celery and the onions. Oh, now the onions are kicking in. Okay, so we'll just give those a rough chop. Okay, good. So that's ready. So we'll clean up a little here, and then we'll bring in another cutting board for the chicken. Okay, so now we're going to fillet the chicken. So, just get that out of the way here. So the best way that I know how, and actually these ones are pretty thin.
Those are pretty thin.
Yeah, I'm just maybe going to take this part off here.
Yeah.
I think that would be okay.
Yeah, that's about what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do need to fillet, sometimes chicken breasts are a little bit thicker. What I do is put my hand flat with my thumb and my fingers on a slight angle up, and then you just want to go straight in and across, just like that. But make sure that those fingers stay up and out of the way.
Yeah, I'm impressed with those. Those are pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one might be a little thick. We'll take this. Let's see here. What do you think?
I think you're fine.
Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those aren't bad at all.
They actually, at the store, had some ones already filleted, but I didn't think that that would work for our demonstration.
Let's put it all together. Do we have to do anything to the casserole dish?
No, actually, I was reading. It just says arrange the chicken. Doesn't say spray or anything like that. Okay, so we're cooking the celery and the onions until soft.
Mm-hmm.
Veggies are cooking. Season your chicken. Right. Okay, so let's season now. Okay. So just before we go to cook the vegetables, we're just going to season the chicken. Now you can use whatever you like. This recipe calls for a salt-free seasoning. So we've got a little bit of Italian seasoning here. You could use Greek seasoning if you wanted. If you wanted to use salt and pepper, you definitely could, but I don't think that it's necessary. Or you could just leave them plain too. I think that there's going to be enough flavor in the recipe. Yeah. But it's up to you.
The Italian seasoning just adds a little extra oomph to it. It's not something that's overpowering. It's just something to give it a little extra.
There we go. Again with the mess.
That's all right. Sorry if I keep looking over here. My son is just on the couch and he keeps calling me. He's having a bit of a rough go.
All right, almost done. Just want to make sure that there's enough seasoning on there, but not overpower them. There we go. Okay, I'm going to give my hands a quick wash, and then we are going to head over to the stove to cook the vegetables. Get the stove, and we're going to add in our onions and our celery. We're just going to cook this down until it's soft. Just give it a few minutes. Veggies are softened now, so we're going to turn off the heat. We are going to add in our homemade cream of mushroom soup. I'm just going to move this over off the heat. We're going to add in our box stuffing mix. Now again, if you don't have box stuffing, that's okay. You could definitely make your own stuffing. You could just even sprinkle breadcrumbs on the top of the chicken if need be. There's lots of substitutions that you can do. So I've added in a cup of hot water, and now we're going to add in our chopped cranberries too, and look at the color. You can definitely, like you said, yes.
Very festive.
See the celery and the cranberries. So we're just gonna let that sit for 1 minute and kind of come together. And we're just gonna pop over here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, well, the mixture is kind of coming together and the stuffing mix is absorbing all the liquid. We're going to lay the chicken into our pan. And it's okay if you overlap them a little bit, that's fine, but we just want to do it in a row basically. Although, might be a row and a bit. There we go, we'll tuck everybody in there. Okay, and I'm just going to come over here and grab our mixture. And see, it's come together really nicely. All those colors in there. And what we're going to do is just, we'll do the dump and spread.
Yep, that's the best way.
Get all that goodness in there.
Now, if you have a little bit of the stuffing go on the sides or where there's not chicken, that's okay, because as it cooks, it'll get a little bit caramelized at the bottom, and it's so good.
All right, so we're just going to spread this out evenly so that everything looks covered. One piece. Tuck that in there. That looks delicious. I'm just going to put this over here. And now our oven is preheated to 400 degrees. And this is going to go in for about 30 minutes at 400 degrees. And we'll pop that in the oven and then show you the results in a bit.